Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke. And today is Ahn Shi Il, and Reverend Abel Nakao is presenting. It's Friday, the 6th of December 2024, or the 6th of November in the 12th year of Chongyalguk. So thank you all for coming, and let's begin with a bow to our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. Chanji Chimpumlinge Kyombe. Paro. Let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English.
가전맨세 2. 천일국 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 춘신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 선자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 2. Our family, the owner of Chongyalguk, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and True Parents. We pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. I'd like to ask Mark Burfield if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Thank you. Please join with me as I pray. Good morning, our dearest Heavenly Parent and beloved true parents. We greet you this new day. We thank you for your wonderful creation that you've made for us to enjoy, and that you also can experience through us. But we recognize that this world has not been as you envisaged from the start in terms of human history. Although the creation is so incredible, you created us as your children to really bring you great joy, and you could experience love, reciprocal love through us. But this has not been the case ever since the start of humankind with the fall of man, and therefore there's been a long, protracted history of suffering and torment that has really deeply made you so miserable and made it so difficult for you to enjoy the creation as it should be enjoyed. So, of course, through your perseverance, there's been a long restoration history, and now we live in the age where the true parents have come. The true father has been on the earth and could be blessed with true mother, the only begotten daughter, and with the marriage supper of the Lamb in 1960. And still true mother is on the earth and is leading the providence to establish Chonoguk. So we are very privileged that we're living in this historic time. It's very hard for us to really understand deeply enough the significance of this time and our role and responsibility. But nevertheless, we want to do our best to unite and to substantiate what we can do to advance the providence and to quickly help to establish Chonoguk so that we can really live, all of us can live in a world of joy and peace and happiness with you as our Heavenly Parent. After this prayer and report, named Mark and Masako, birth of a blessed central family. Arju.
Arju, thank you. Let's see if Reverend Abel is here. Not sure if he's here. No, I don't see him anywhere. I have something just in case he didn't turn up or having difficulty. I didn't receive any. Usually he emails me something or sends me something to present, but nothing at the moment. That's okay. I have got something. I'll just bring that up. All right. So this is from the Chambumo Gyong. It's the significance of true parents in the history of the providence of restoration. So that's something that I can go through. Just double checking again that it hasn't come. No, there's been no message or anything. That's okay. So just join me and I'll present this. So this is section 1, the true ancestors. The perfected Adam and Eve. God created human beings to experience joy for eternity. Adam and Eve, the first ancestors of humankind, were created to be the object partners of God's absolute true love. Humanity had to originate from one ancestral couple. God created true love to flow in one stream. Hence, he cannot begin another stream of true love from someone other than one man and one woman. If Adam and Eve had become perfect through God's absolute love and multiplied good descendants, they could have realized an ideal family. everyone in that family would have attended God, the Creator, as their vertical, incorporeal, true parent, and perfected Adam and Eve as their horizontal, substantial, true parents on earth. Adam and Eve's true family would have expanded into Adam and Eve's clan. Their clan would have prospered, expanded into a society and nation, and ultimately built a world that fulfilled God's three great blessings to be fruitful and multiply and have dominion over all things. That world would have been nothing less than the ideal kingdom of heaven that God intended to build on earth. From seeing Adam and Eve, who were created in his image, we can understand that God exists with the dual characteristics of masculinity and femininity. It is because God has both of these characteristics that God created Adam and Eve. Therefore, Adam and Eve needed to become one as subject partner and object partner, as a perfect man and a perfect woman. Had they done so, they would have reached a position equal to that of God. Then they would have given birth to sons and daughters and given them the same love that God gave them when creating them. Human beings were God's greatest masterpieces among all created beings. He created them so that they could also stand in the position of creating such masterpieces, human beings, as their children. God therefore expected Adam and Eve to become completely one as husband and wife. Then, when looking at their children born from their perfect union, Adam and Eve would have inherited the tremendous joy that God experienced when he created them. So, we can see here how our Heavenly Parent really had so much hope and expectation and desire within Adam and Eve, because they truly represented him. God imbued Adam and Eve with love that would have enabled them to give birth to children of love, and to give birth to children and love them with that very love. In other words, Adam and Eve, being God's beloved children, totally received every single thing that God, the absolute being, had within him. The original Adam and Eve were God's body. What I am saying is that these originally good ancestors of humanity were to be a substantial manifestation of God. God wanted to enter their minds and become one with them in physical form. In that state, even as God wanted to give them more and more, God and human beings, would revolve around each other, spinning like a rotor. They would become completely one. Had such seeds of love been sown, their descendants, humankind, would have borne the fruit. Then, no matter how far you dissected that seed, its core substance would never change. However, because of the fall, that seed needs to be dismantled and repaired. It must be fundamentally repaired. But this is impossible unless they bring God back into their lives and attend him. God created heaven and earth in order to share his life and love. This is why God, the incorporeal one, brings forth a man and a woman as the eternal embodiments of his love. They are the true parents, the good ancestors, whom he now introduces to humanity as the central substance of his love. So we can see here very clearly, that God expected, to manifest within Adam and Eve, but we know that they did not go that way, but fell. That's why, as it says here, God, the incorporeal one, brings forth a man and a woman as the eternal embodiments of his love. They are the true parents, the good ancestors, the good human ancestors whom he now introduces to humanity as the central substance of his love. Because, the core of the seed should never have changed, but because of the fall, it got, corrupted, and so it needed to be dismantled. It needed to be fixed, and so God took the core again and produced our true parents, who fulfilled what Adam and Eve didn't realize, and that was to become the body of God. The original Adam and Eve were to have been the true parents. As father and mother, they would have been the center of the family and regarded as the king and queen of the family. Their sons and daughters would have been the heirs who could become future kings and queens. If the original ancestors, Adam and Eve, had not fallen, God would have been the grandparent who bequeathed his kingship to their family. That is why the true father and true mother are the king and queen of the family and represent all families and all nations. They are the original king and queen of the family, and you, as their sons and daughters, are in the position of princes and princesses who will inherit their kingship in the future as members of the royal family. And so this is something we need to appreciate once again, that we stand in the position of being our true parents, sons and daughters, because of the blessing, and that we will inherit their kingship as future members of the royal family. And of course, that always is subject to our fulfilling our responsibility. So due to the fall of the human ancestors, God lost the true ancestors of humankind as he had envisaged them according to the ideal of creation. Human beings, no matter how great or how wealthy, even if they have the power to move the entire world, are still from the lineage of the fallen ancestors. This is a most lamentable truth. People who are descended from the fallen ancestors are bound to plummet down to Satan's hell. People throughout history have been searching for the original Lord, the original parents, who are the true ancestors, who can embrace fallen humanity as their true children. For this, God strove to recover the positions of Adam and Eve prior to the fall, following the path of restoration continually for 4,000 years. Adam and Eve, had they not fallen, would have become the true ancestors of humankind. They would have become the true father and true mother, the true parents of humankind in the flesh. However, Adam and Eve fell, and humankind became Satan's children. Suppose Adam and Eve had not fallen, but instead had become a man and woman imbued with God's heart, they would have joined in holy matrimony as God rejoiced over them and become the true parents of humankind. Then the created world would have united with them in harmony and joyfully provided their family with everything they needed. Had Adam and Eve become a true son and daughter before God, had they become a true husband and wife as the model for all human beings, and had they become the true parents of humankind who could attend God as their eternal parent, they would have been able to sing with joy and happiness throughout their lives. No one would ever have been able to lead them away because they would have belonged solely to the one Lord. Their heart and their love would have belonged to the one Lord. Their one Lord would have been God. And so we can see and sense in this over and over, hearing how if they had not fallen, how God would have truly been happy, and all of us would have been happy, because that's what God desired from the beginning. The fall disrupted Adam's family. Therefore, the goal of restoration, to return to the original state before the fall, is to restore Adam's family. God first strives to recover one individual who will be his partner. Then he strives to recover one central family. Only after that can he strive to recover a church, a people, a nation, and then the world. Throughout history, God has been seeking a family that could become his ideal object partner. Such is the true family. The true family is fundamentally different in substance from ordinary families. Unless that God-centered family can be recovered and aligned with God's ideal, there is no way to recover the ideal for the nation or the world. This is the reason that God must first establish the original true family. Similarly, salvation cannot be attained by individuals. Rather, the basic unit of salvation is a true family. Had it not been for the fall, Adam and Eve would have become the ideal husband and wife, and one step further, the true parents. They would have become the true parents to their posterity and all humankind. Had humanity prospered with Adam and Eve as the true parents, they would have built one great family and established the world of peace in the Adamic cultural sphere. And, again, Father is explaining, or true parents are explaining God's heart more deeply, and really how much God invested everything into Adam and Eve. And so deep is that sadness that they did not fulfill his ideal. And so Father, our Heavenly Father, never gave up. And that's why we have our true family today, who are representing before the fall, representing what God originally desired and created, the true family, which is, as it says here, the true family is fundamentally different in substance from ordinary families, because ordinary families today are fallen, and they are the substance, whether we like to acknowledge it or recognize it. We're lucky to be blessed now so that we're in true family, but fallen families are the substance of Satan, are the substance of despair, and the substance of selfish desire. But the true family, that's why it's fundamentally different, because it's the substance of God. God dwells within them, and it's the realization of God's ideal fulfilled. The history of God's providence of restoration is a sorrowful history. The fact that God lost Adam and Eve is something to grieve over. The problem is that this loss did not end with those two individuals alone. Losing them meant losing their clan, and this lost clan has since expanded into peoples, nations, and the world. By losing Adam and Eve, God lost them all. Thus, the loss of Adam and Eve meant that God's kingdom and his sovereignty were lost. It meant the loss of God's family, God's clan, and the people for his kingdom. It meant the loss of an ideal man and woman, the loss of God's only son and daughter, That is why the history of salvation, namely the history of the providence of restoration, is to recover one man and one woman, Adam and Eve. If Adam and Eve had not fallen but had prospered, today every single human being among the many billions of people on our planet would be registered in the heavenly kingdom. Everyone would naturally enter the heavenly kingdom as one family. Really, God's so desperate to see that one family. Due to the fall of the first human ancestors, God could neither have true ancestors nor be true descendants. Even God could not stand in the position of true God. Nothing was centered on God. So there was no basis to build a true family, a true society, or a true nation. For this reason, we must seek the true root. And when we find it, we will also find the nation in which everyone can live together as one true family. That is why, through the providence of salvation, God has sought to build the one world, the world of hope, true peace, love, and oneness. To realize this purpose, God sends the Savior. The true parents must come to earth and teach humanity to make God their central focus as individuals and to put God at the center of their family, the nation, and the world. By doing so, they are trying to return all humankind to the original world. Such is the course of the providence. So the providence of restoration has two aspects in one way, the course to bring about true parents, and finally the course of true parents to restore what was lost. God spent all his time just to bring about Adam and Eve restored before the fall, which is our true parents, and then our true parents take on that responsibility that Adam and Eve didn't do and completed the true family. And therefore, as their descendants, being blessed members, we together with them are expanding into the kingdom of heaven on earth. So God's hope is not for the Lord to return on the clouds in the sky and build a spiritual kingdom like a fantasy world. The reason he returns is to plant his feet on the ground and to find the one bride who can receive God's total love. He does this work to recover all that was lost because 6,000 years ago, the first human ancestors became the false ancestors. Therefore, in the course of history, a perfect woman must emerge who is absolutely connected to God's love. She must join with the perfected man who lives in oneness with God's love. She is able to stand as the bride of the returning Lord, who comes as the bridegroom. This time is at hand. When they unite in this position, they are at the level of Adam and Eve before the fall, when they were loved by God in the Garden of Eden. They had reached the point to receive from God the three great blessings. With them emerges the foundational point on earth that Satan cannot evade. Had Adam and Eve stood in this victorious position as the ancestors of humankind, the archangel Lucifer would not have become Satan. Rather, he would have attended them as a faithful servant. This is the principle of creation. Because they lost that position, since that time, human beings have been orphans. Therefore, the true parents of humankind who can recover this position must appear on earth. So here, it's clearly showing us that there had to be a perfect woman who is absolutely connected to God's love had to emerge, had to be born, had to exist before the marriage of the Lamb. And so it is not the perfection of Adam and Eve as true parents that they become perfected as individuals. They became perfected as individuals before the marriage of the Lamb. So she is able to stand as the bride of the returning Lord, who comes as the bridegroom. That time is at hand. Well, that time has already happened, and as we know. And that's something to remember. The course that in a way there's two halves to the course. Getting the true parents, and then the course of true parents. So the position of true parents begins with perfected Adam and Eve. That's what Adam and Eve should have done, because if they were perfected, then God would have blessed them and sanctified their marriage, and God would have resided within them. But didn't happen. So mother, at the time of the wedding, was perfected, and father, at the time of the wedding, was perfected. And so they were able to take on the position of true parents. And then the course of restoration continued as true parents to bring about God's ideal, because the true parents was the beginning point of human history. Adam and Eve were meant to reach the top of the completion stage, be one with God, and then join together as a husband and wife, the subject and object partner, and become the object partner of God's love, and then God become one with them. And so the course of suffering that mother and fathers continued after being true parents was the course to continue the restoration of all humanity who were still trapped in Satan's lineage. And so, that's why mother is desperate to see Christianity understand who she is, and why it's desperate to see Chongyalguk emerge, and for that nation of Korea, the new chosen nation, become united as one. And humanity, as we know, because they lost that position, since that time human beings, being orphans, have been orphans. Therefore, the true parents of humankind who can recover this position must appear on earth. And so we have that. The original Adam was one individual, yet he was meant to be the center of the family, the tribe, the nation, the world. The culture would have been Adam's culture. From that culture, a language would have begun. Thus, everything would have developed and prospered. Accordingly, all the events that connected to true parents can become sources for creating a new culture. From this new culture, a true history of humankind can finally unfold. True families, societies, peoples, nations, and a true world can emerge. The teachings of true parents have established a tradition, as the tradition will be central in every age. Thus far, human beings have based their hope for the world in a vision of the future, but no longer. Rather than looking forward to something yet to be realized, we will advance centering on the teachings that true parents are practicing here and now. It is based upon their teachings that history will advance. The heavenly nation to be erected based on those teachings will establish the center of the past, the present and the future. Once this nation is inaugurated, its culture will not be short-lived. It will extend to the world and remain alive and well, becoming the source for future cultural development. There will be total oneness. It will be the same whether at the beginning or the end. And so, really talking about the future, if Adam and Eve, as restored now through our true parents, this is the culture that is emerging, the culture of our true parents, starting here, it's saying Adam's culture, but then goes on to say true parents can become sources for creating a new culture, because we need to recognize that started with Adam and Eve, and they became one with God and then one with each other. So when you look at the Father, you see the Son, as well as when you look at the Son, you see the Father. So when you look at the mother, you see the daughter, and when you see the daughter, you see the mother. And so when we look at true parents, we see God. And so this is the culture that's emerging. True families, societies, peoples, nation, and a true world can emerge. And it's different. It's saying it's no longer a vision. This is what our ancestors hoped and prayed for. They prayed to be living in the time of true parents. Even Jesus desired to be true parents. Everyone was waiting. So it was always something in the future. There was always a vision, and the vision was there, but not realized. But as it says, thus far, human beings have based their hope for the world in a vision of the future, but no longer. Rather than looking forward to something yet to be realized, we will advance centering on the teachings that true parents are practicing here and now. And that's what we are learning. We are learning these new teachings, the teachings of true parents. Divine principle brought us to the understanding of the perfection of Adam and Eve. But true parents are creating. They're no longer the wish that we are waiting for, but we are now children of our true parents, and together with them, we are learning from them. We will advance centering on the teachings that true parents are practicing here and now. It is based upon their teachings that history will advance. And that's the thing about history. History is beginning now. So it's no longer a history of restoration to get us back to where we started. We've passed where we've started. We've passed the realization of achieving oneness with the Messiah, which are the true family. We've come to the point where we're in Chongyal Guk, and that's why we're in the 12th year of Chongyal Guk, and soon to welcome the Chongyal Sanctum within the Chongwon Gun, which is the authority of heaven on earth substantialized. So rather than looking forward to something yet to be realized, we will advance centering on the teachings that true parents are practicing here and now. It is based upon their teachings that history will advance. So we're now in this Chongyal Guk history. They're no longer the fall, no longer the completed Testament age, no longer focusing on trying to fix things, but now we're building something. And the thing is, we don't know what to build. That's why we have to follow true parents, because they know exactly what to build, how it's supposed to be. The heavenly nation to be erected based on those teachings will establish the center of the past, the present, and the future. So this is the history of humankind that God wanted from the beginning. And the history of the fall will soon become a lost, forgotten memory. once this nation is inaugurated, and now we're talking about the chosen nation of Korea, which is now divided, it will be united, and it will be united centered upon our true parents. Once this nation is inaugurated, its culture will not be short-lived. It will extend to the world and remain alive and well, becoming the source for future cultural development. There will be total oneness. It will be the same whether at the beginning or the end. So, I'm just looking at the time because it's sort of the end of that sort of section, relating to Adam and Eve, and we can feel God's heart very deeply, I'm sure, that so much God wanted Adam and Eve to do. They didn't do it, and then God walked this course of 6,000 years, biblically, even more, billions of years, we don't know, but didn't give up. True parents are here. They have succeeded. They are creating Chongyol-guk. And as we know, Father is already in the spirit world and Mother is here on earth. And this culture that's being created, the true parents culture, it really needs to be substantialized, like it says, that last paragraph, just to say that again. The teachings that true parents have established as the tradition will be the central in every age. So every age, every generation of humanity that comes after true parents will be established on that central tradition that true parents begin. And that's why this tradition has to be realized. It's no longer a vision. It's something, rather than looking forward to something yet to be realized, we will advance centering on the teachings that true parents are practicing here and now. And so that's something we need to recognize, the teachings. And if you notice, that 1971, so we're not talking about something that is new or different in 2024. No, this is what has always been the understanding. It's based on the teachings. Everything that our true parents have given. And there's hundreds and hundreds of volumes and thousands of speeches Father and Mother have done. And the core content is still being understood and still being revealed. And so it's based upon their teachings that history will advance. The heavenly nation to be erected based on those teachings will establish the center of the past, present, and future. So that's quite a statement, that one there. The heavenly nation to be erected based on those teachings will establish the center of the past, present, and future. So it's creating something that will last forever. The past being grandparents, you can think from that point of view, and the present being parents, and the future being children, because they are all the extension of God. So once this nation is inaugurated, its culture will not be short-lived. And so that still, we have the opening of the temple, and Mother is desiring that Gapyeong at least be restored, so that it represents the nation of Korea. But Korea, the nation, has to be realized. We can't have a floating nation. We've got true parents, we've got people, we've got sovereignty, but we don't have a physical land. So we have like a floating nation. And that's sort of the situation of Israel at the time of Jesus. Because once Jesus went to the cross, Israel became floating. There was no nation. And now today we have the war with Palestine and Israel still fighting over the nation. But the nation has to be realized. the nation has to be established. And a lot of Christians think it's the original one, the Israel of the past, but actually it moved, as we know. And the Israel of today is Korea. And we, true parents desperately desire that the nation become whole, because it represents, what has to be done. The one nation of true parents needs to be realized. So this nation, once this nation is inaugurated, its culture will not be short-lived. It will be extended to the world and remain alive and well, becoming the source for future cultural development. There will be total oneness. It will be the same whether at the beginning or the end. So I'll just stop there. So thank you, everyone, for coming and listening, and I hope you could gain some deeper connection to our Heavenly Parent. And so we have some time for comments or reflections. So I'll open it up to others who'd like to share. Thank you. Yes, Hadi, go ahead. You there, Hadi? You got your hand up? You need to unmute.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Just like to update all of us. Nothing. What I'm going to say is not related to the content today, but it's about the political development in Solomon Islands. A motion of no confidence was submitted to Parliament yesterday afternoon against the current Prime Minister of Solomon Islands, Mr. Jeremiah Manele, by the Member of Parliament for Central Honiara constituency, and he is also the chair of the Public Accounts Committee. So unfortunately, this is a development. So I would like to ask all of us to pray for Prime Minister Jeremiah Manele, because he's an able figure. So as like everything else, it's a spiritual battle between God and Satan. So so that's the latest. Just yesterday. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we'll certainly pray. Thank you. Yes, Margaret, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Rev John. That was really a good reading. I just want to ask if for some understanding of the three kings royalty, if anyone wants to share of how they understand how that works, especially within the blessed family. Thank you.
So you want to know about the three kingships, is that it? Or,
Yes.
okay. Does anyone have an idea or wants to answer that? You have any thoughts, Reverend Stone?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Margaret. Well, just initially, in response to that, firstly, I'd say the three kingships, to my understanding, is kingship of the past, kingship of the present, kingship of the future, represented by the grandparents and the parents and the children, respectively. So, yeah, that expression within within the family is something we need to always strive for, so that we can create consistent holistic unity going forward. So there's not a separation between the past, present, and future. You know, if you don't connect to the future, then there's kind of no direction. There's no route. There's no there's no clarity going forward. So that unity has to be established within the family, and that's, I think, the establishment of the three, the realm of the royal. Sorry, the three great kingships. Yeah. Someone else maybe have some ideas as well. Sure.
Thank you. Yes, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, no, my understanding might be true parent, true teacher, true owner. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's another way of looking at the three kingships. That's true. And all of them have one thing in common, is that they're all totally an expression of God's love, and there is no there's no separation, or there's no differencing. I mean, it's the same culture, it's the same heart, the same understanding, and I'm sure the three kingships. You must, Margaret, have some sort of idea yourself what you think it is. What do you think it is, even though you posed the question?
Well, if I don't know how many are familiar with Michael Hendricks, who has a podcast on Spotify that is called Sunday with True Parents. I would encourage people to find that Sunday with True Parents, Michael Hendricks. He had a guest speaker. He invites family members who have something to share, and Jerry Servito made a presentation. I don't know how many remember Jerry Servito, who is a big carp lecturer. And anyway, he shared about these three kingships. So it really got me thinking about that. But he offers some very good practical ways of relating within the grandparents, the parents, and the children. And I just want to give an example that he gave, Jerry, in this podcast. Was he's got 4 blessed children, and one of them, when he went to college, Jerry and his wife were praying desperately that he will maintain his faith. They were very afraid that in college he would lose that faith, and he did maintain his faith. And later, his father Jerry asked him, how did he manage to do that? What influenced him? And to Jerry's great surprise was, they did every Ahn Shi Il, or afterwards they would study. So Jerry was thinking that he and his wife influenced him through that practice. And to his great surprise, his son said, it was because of Lola, the grandmother. And grandma, every time the son comes home from wherever he was, he would do the Filipino kissing of the hand on the forehead, and every time the grandmother would say, "Don't forget everything for the one upstairs," or something like that. And through that, it really made an impact on their son. And so that's a practical explanation that I got from Jerry, that the role of the grandparents, how important and how great it is, who have lived life and have experiences many things and are now in the position to give. And she didn't do a lot of talking. She just, whenever the son would, grandson would greet her, she would always say, "Don't forget the one up there." And he said that that's what influenced him to keep his unification faith. The grandmother did not grow up unificationist. She was a Catholic. So just that really was a great sharing, and I would encourage everyone to check on Michael Hendrick's Spotify, Sunday with True Parents. He has a lot of good nuggets in that program. He did study at the graduate school in Korea and had an opportunity to really dig into Father's words and learned Korean, actually, which is a great success for us who attempted to learn Korean and are still trying. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret. Yeah, I think that's a good understanding that the grandparent, parent, and children really one, and having that oneness, that continuity, is what makes it, I think. So thank you. It's time now for us to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just bring up the screen. There it is. And let's pray together. Thank you. Jew, Jew, Jew. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a great day and see you all again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, brothers and sisters.